Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga woo. I just got this feeling deep inside of me that by the end of this Guild War battle, the depression will be infinite. Yeah, whatever, it didn't rhyme. But either way, hey, welcome to the Guild War. Hey, I almost didn't make this video, and I'll go into that like further down the line. Basically, it's whenever we get to the very end. But for this first fight in particular, I saw Ran, I saw Zio, and I saw Senya, and I just was like, okay, so is there somewhere where I can use Ocean Breeze Luluca in here? Because Ocean Breeze Luluca is actually pretty amazing to go into Ran, but the one big problem that I've kind of found with using Ocean Breeze Luluca is you can't really depend on her as a cleanser. And the biggest reason for why is because Senya is there. So because Senya is there, I'm going to be dealing with provoke shenanigans and blind shenanigans if I don't have the effect resist to really deal with it. So that's really the only reason why Destina is here as well. Destina is here purely as a means of, okay, so we'll use her for any and all cleansing that we need, because Luluca has a very, very long amount of time until she can use her S3. Kind of makes me wish that there was a little bit more to Ocean Breeze Luluca, but at the same time, I don't want more, because she already feels like she's somewhat fairly balanced, because she's basically a disruptor for setup. That's what you use her for. Oh, by the way, check out 15% Chan. 15% Chan going in, making me mad depressed already. This is the first fight, by the way. Resist. So that is not an effect resist Senya, because my Ocean Breeze Luluca has almost no effectiveness on her, and she was able to hit her with blind and silence. So with that being said, oh cool, so I'm already kind of I'm in danger. And the reason why I'm in danger is because the Zio is at free reign to just go into my Destina, who already has somewhat fairly low HP, because Destina's not really a bulk healer. She's kind of like that incremental healer kind of character. So thankfully, due to the defense buff that Alencia does happen to give on her S3, even should you not get a strip, you have a little bit more bulk. Ooh-ah! And because of that, we're able to recover from this very, very damn near unwinnable situation. And, oh hey, let's go in and see if we can strip some more of that stuff off of that Senya. LOL, resist again. 15% is the dumbest fucking shit in the whole game, man. I hate it. But, okay, either way, we've completely gotten past the first real block of, like, pain and suffering that is this team, because the problem that you're dealing with is you're dealing with Ran. If Ran happens to land death breaks, your tank for the Zio is more than likely going to die, stuff like that, and the Senya's there to really just kind of harass you. Case in point, because this one is rocking, I'm pretty sure, I'm not really paying attention right now, but I was pretty sure that this one was rocking the attack buff EE artifact, so you're dealing with greater attack buff. This is basically just a damage Senya. There's no effect res. There might have been some effectiveness, but of course, my other two units that are there are effect res monsters, and then there's Alencia. The biggest reason I don't like bringing Alencia into Senya is because she gets controlled. You're in really deep shit. So, let us go to numero dos, round 2. Whatever. I don't speak Spanish. So, this one right here, I mean, I've already won. If you really, really take a good moment to analyze the fight, because the main reason is we're going up against Apocalypse Ravi. Apocalypse Ravi is going to have tunnel vision into the Spirit Eye Celine, and if you don't get, like, dual attacked, if you don't get, like, unnecessarily countered in a bad way, in which, like, that's the only thing that you really have to worry about, and you're 100% in the clear. So, I have Spirit Eye Celine, I have Roana, and I have Blood Moon Haste. Now, Blood Moon Haste is really just more of a flex pick, because honestly, he's not really a great option for this fight. Now, I have Idol's Cheer on him. So anytime he's hit, which he's going to be hit twice from the Conqueror Lilias and the drags that are going to go into him, it's going to basically boost up my Spirit Eye Celine super, super fast on the CR bar. So that's good. But the one thing in particular that we are missing in this fight is we're missing attack buff. So that's the one real deciding factor that's kind of slowing all of this down. So the good thing is Blood Moon Haste, as much as he's not a great pick for this particular team, is he does still do at least something. So when we go into this Mercedes, we're going to just burn the S3 because we just don't give a shit, because immediately we get it back. So that's like the one cool thing that I do like about Blood Moon Haste is he was an early design character where, oh hey, his whole kit has like no limitations on it. So if you were ever going into a team of like 3 revivers and they're just reviving non-stop constantly, he can actually spam his S3. It's not like, oh, you have to take a turn and all that kind of shit. He can literally do that. The only problem is the meta has like evolved to a point where it's like, who the fuck really relies on revive anymore? Because Extinction is just so powerful now at this point. Who gives a shit about revive? That's kind of like why Blood Moon Haste is just kind of not useful anymore. The only one real thing that Blood Moon Haste is actually genuinely useful for is if you happen to still see any particular Arbiter Vildred defenses. Those are almost extinct, though. You almost never see those anymore, and that's the one thing that he was tailor-made, designed to fight. Kind of sucks that that's the case with Blood Moon Haste now, but hopefully one day he'll get a buff and something about him will change. I really don't know what they could possibly do. It almost feels like he needs a kit rework, but either way. And you probably noticed I'm not even really talking about the fight, because yeah, the one thing that we had to do just to prevent being murdered by counterattacks is to kill the Mercedes. The good news is that even if we were going to be hit by magic for friends or anything crazy like that, as long as you're high on your HP values, like if you're at least above the 50% threshold on Spirit Eye Celine, because we have Roana with us, if magic for friends were to proc, we'll never die. Because we'll take a certain threshold of damage, and then we'll heal back more than what the HP that our Spirit Eye Celine even has. Plus, she's going to be injured from, like, a Ravi hits as well, and that's going to just make it even harder to kill her. To where the only thing that will really put you in the ground is going to be additional damage shenanigans. Like, anything that does additional damage, stuff like that. But, like, we're not dealing with anything like that. The only thing that could really go wrong is if the AI was better, and the Conqueror Lilias would then start dragging into the Spirit Eye Celine, because the Conqueror Lilias is more than likely not running any crit. You know, shit like that. But this is the other thing that also sucks about Blood Moon Haste, is he's also very susceptible to injury. Because, like, yeah, now that he's been injured a little bit, his S3 does almost no damage. It's really sad. Hopefully one of these days he'll get a buff, because I really love his design. I love his voiceover lines that he uses. He's just an all-around general cool character. But yeah, I believe his time has passed. And now all we have left is Apocalypse Ravi. And with Apocalypse Ravi, you know, tunnel vision into Spirit Eye Celine, it's just a matter of time until you win, really. So just pay attention to your souls, pay attention to your cooldown reductions on your S3. And in particular, I got kind of unlucky throughout a lot of this fight. Prophetic Candlestick didn't proc very often. So, yeah, that's one thing that can go wrong, is if you don't have Prophetic on or anything like that, you might have one turn in particular where you do not have Possession and you do not have your S3. That's your, like, nightmare scary scenario, especially if you can be controlled on a Spirit Eye. But, doesn't happen. It's just a matter of, like, oh, hey, cool, you got time? Let's just go through it. And now let's go through one hell of a fucking opening right here. So, Zio comes in and just drops a big old nuke right on top of Ed. This going ahead and provides silence. Silence, he then responds with equivalent exchange. This procs the Senya. We get a... yeah, it's still Zio's turn, by the way. And then now it's finally Jacko's turn. So, Jacko got hit with a blind. Even if I was not hit, she was not hit with that blind, doesn't matter. It would absolutely no way kill my Yulha, which would then create another opportunity to kill the Jacko if you ever took a lot of damage on Yulha. It's like, this is a really great setup if you ever see a Zio Jacko kind of defense. And you don't necessarily need to run Edward. This is just more of a fact of, I really do love fighting Zio on defense. Case in point, instead of, say, a Conqueror Lilias, you have Zio, and what Zio does is he always goes into whoever is going to be the highest on the CR bar. It's so weird to talk about it like that, because when I say highest, I'm looking at the CR bar, and I'm looking at the top of it, which is actually the lowest end, but you guys understand what I mean. Whoever is about to take their next turn, that's who Zio targets for his S3. So you can use that to your advantage, and then you can just immediately plan a counterattack and just utterly wipe him off the face of the map. So you don't need to use Edward into it. I just like to use Edward because that's almost a guaranteed proc of Equivalent Exchange, and Equivalent Exchange can absolutely fuck up an opening cleave really bad. You could get Provoke, you can get, I think he has Attack down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. He has, like, probably the worst debuff that he has is Restrict, but even Restrict can be useful. Like, if you're going up against an Apocalypse Ravi, then suddenly she doesn't jump on the CR bar anymore. So, like, that's a thing. But, yeah, either way, that's all it is to this team, is if you can just predict what the Zio's going to do, you can just counterattack whatever means that you want. And if you also have Yulha with you, Jacko ain't gonna kill you. It's just not gonna happen. If anything, Jacko might end up killing herself, just with the sheer amount of damage that she's gonna do to her. Because that's what we used to do whenever we used to fight Huayungs. We'd use Yulha. Yulha would take a metric shitload of damage, and then Huayung would be like at half HP or something, and then you could easily just kill her with the S3. You might not be able to do that now because I don't know, just a lot of different things. Either way, that's the end of that match. Not much to really talk about. So here's this next one, and I actually have to say something real quick to my guild. Hey, Mikia, this is directed directly at you. You gave, like, the go-ahead to, like, hey, yo, this is easy Straze because the Ahmed is, like, 200 speed, but you forgot to say who was the highest HP. You didn't tell me it was Ed. So, basically, I was gonna go into this fight with Sinful, Angelica, Straze, and Kisei, because I was like, oh yeah, surely the Mort is gonna be the highest HP, so then he'll just die. Now, thankfully, I checked myself, and I was like, wait, I don't have this information. The Ed might actually be the highest HP. So then I wrote back onto my strategy and was like, okay, fuck it. Let's bring Muse Rima instead. And then we'll use her to reset Straze so that we should be able to kill the Mort. Thankfully, the Mort was kind of squishy, actually. I wasn't expecting him to die from this S2. And because we have the immortality on Senji, the Holy Sack did nothing. So the Mort's dead. And now that we used our cooldown reduction from Muse Rima onto Straze, we can use S3 again, and the Ahmed is dead. One thing in which I would really like for them to do is to go back and rework Muse Rima's kit. I really would love it if they take off the restrictions of having to use ice elemental heroes for her to get the full just experience out of her kit. It'd be really nice if they'd go back and they'd fix her up. One thing in particular, I'd really like it if she'd cool down by 4 turns instead of 3. But either way, here we're going up against iWinter, Zio, and who was the last one? Was it Senya? Yes, it was. So it was Senya, iWinter, and Zio. So here, another reason of like why I just love fighting Zio. You can plan accordingly for this. So yeah, he was an effectiveness Zio, and he actually hit my Doris. Oh no, things are looking really bad, right? Well, technically yes, if you don't have Milim. So what Milim does is she's just iWinter's Bane. If you have a book on her, Shazam, that's a free dead iWinter, because they're more than likely not going to be tanky at all. So yeah, like that. You just burn the S1 and then just use the S3 and bam, iWinter's dead. Because Milim's turn is what dispels stealth. Woo! Ain't that fucking pretty. So with that being said, now that we've gotten rid of iWinter, we can start to heal now, and because we can heal, there's no longer any threat of actually losing. So, because actually, let's look at this damage. Yeah, so that's just purely an effectiveness Zio, so the Zio is actually no threat. I didn't need to do this, but like, hey, I saw an opportunity to take it, so I did it. And now all we have left is Senya. Sure, we don't have a lot of very powerful, like, cleanse on our team right now, to deal with things like, you know, S3 and things of that nature. But ultimately, it's not really a problem. Because I have a decent amount of effect res on my Doris. I have def buff. I have heal. I have regen. It's going to be fine. And even if we miss a couple of crits on our Milim, I think we'll do just enough damage that we'll be just fine. And that's pretty much what happens. So, yeah, and then we'll do this right here. Bam. It's not an effect res, Senya. So yeah, it's pretty much over. Now, let's go on ahead and start talking about the next round. The next round is just a case of hubris for me, because it's a matter of, wow, if I just remembered that, hey, Lucent, did you know that you had an Ahmed that's built that could do this very team and make it really easy? I know you hate Ahmed, but you have her. You could have used her, and it would have worked. And yeah, that's kind of like what it is. I'm just kind of kicking myself because I did this. I brought Sinful Angelica for the sake of like, oh hey, what's a really fast unit that I have that can give attack buff? And I just immediately thought Sinful Angelica. Completely unnecessary. I could have easily just brought Ahmed, because Ahmed's S2 is insane. It's like, what, a 25% CR boost? What the fuck? So all you'd have to do is use that, and then use Ahmed's S3 on Arunka. Bam! And now Mercedes is dead. Like that's all it would have taken. Opening turn. That's all it would have taken. So if I were to do that, then I wouldn't have had any need to bring Roana. And then I could have brought, like, say, if you have it, if you had a very, very well-built Watcher Shuri, you can use that to kill Winter, and you're pretty much in the clear. But either way, we're going to go ahead and we're going to see if we can still somehow survive from all this, because we proc the Winter's S2, so then that puts another barrier on the Mercedes, so we're able to use Arunka's S3 on her. That extincts her, doesn't matter, she's dead. So now we have, like, this one little problem right here. One, Arunka had really, really low HP. So then she gets hit by the Fallen CC, so we pretty much kind of wasted a turn where we could have burned, something like that. Okay, whatever. So now I'm pretty much expecting... Okay, so I'm probably going to lose my Sinful Angelica right here. And then I take a very unnecessary risk. I could have accidentally procced the ae-KARINA like this. Thankfully, I didn't. But either way, that's not enough. I don't have attack buff. I can't kill. So then I'm just... Okay, so I just have to go into the ae-KARINA. I burned with the Roana in hopes that this would actually allow me to survive. I mean, I was hoping, but alas, that didn't happen. And then the other big thing that goes wrong here is Arunka is still the lowest health. So if the Roana was at least the lowest health, then I would have definitely had a chance here. However, that doesn't happen. We're one turn away from using the S3. She goes into me again. I go into her again, and then there's the deciding factor. She hit me. And because that Arunka hit me, she hits me with Death Break, and this would have killed me right here. So yeah, if that little tiny bit of bad luck didn't happen at the very end, we probably still could have won this fight. Didn't happen, but hey, that's just the way it goes. So yeah, I was about to not make this video just because of that, because it's always a really, really terrible feeling when, like, you do fine or whatever throughout, like, the entire video, then you get to the very end and then you just kind of, like, piddle out. Like, it was, then you just fall over, roll over, and die. It's just, I don't know, it just kind of, like, kills the hype of a lot of videos. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do like to watch, like, anytime you fuck up. But either way, yeah. I just wanted to go ahead and also talk about this real quick. I am actually very, very, very thankful to everybody who does watch my content. I'm extremely grateful that I actually have a following at all. And so this is for all of you. I really, really do appreciate anybody who comments, anybody who leaves likes, anybody who even leaves criticisms. Like, seriously, if you leave valid criticisms, I will respond to them. Just don't leave stupid comments. Because, like, I've dealt with a few of those in the past, but, like, still, you know what I mean. Like, I appreciate criticism, I appreciate, like, any and all comments, I appreciate, like, everybody who really does watch my stuff, and hey, I love you all, I love all you guys. I greatly, greatly appreciate any and all of the, work that you've done to watch my stuff. If any of you happen to, like, spread my stuff, I greatly appreciate that, too. I never thought in a million years I would even be doing stuff like this, but, with that being said, if you guys have gotten this far, go ahead and leave a like. It really, really does help me out. It makes me feel a lot better about myself. And if you want to see more of my content, go ahead and hit subscribe. Hope to see y'all again soon. Later.